First and foremost, I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, double honors to the apostles, elders, and Akim of Great Millstone, and peace and salutations to the elect of Yasharallah throughout the four corners of earth. I came across this BBC News article. It goes into how a U.S. millionaire charged with laborers' nuclear bunker death, and it says, Khafra, who was killed in a fire, posted photos online of the tunnel's progress. Then it goes on to say, a U.S. millionaire has been charged with the death of a laborer he hired to dig a nuclear bomb shelter beneath his suburban home, report local media. Daniel Beckwith, 27, had been building the bunker because of his fear of international threats, including from North Korea. His lawyer said, in September, 21-year-old Askai Khafra died after a fire broke out in a network of tunnels under the house. Mr. Beckwith was charged with involuntary manslaughter last week. Officials in Bethesda, Maryland, a wealthy suburb of Washington, D.C., have also charged Mr. Beckwith with depraved heart second-degree murder because they say he acted with wanton disregard for human life. And this is Mr. Beckwith. It says Mr. Beckwith was arrested last week and released after posting a $100,000 bond. The 200-foot, 60-mile tunnel system, which was concealed 20 feet beneath Mr. Beckwith's basement, was fitted with a daisy chain of electrical power cords, prosecutors say in charging documents. The court papers filed on 25th May in Montgomery County cite dangerous hoarding conditions inside the home and say the accused was specifically aware of the increased likelihood of a fire breaking out, but did nothing to prevent it. Police also described immense piles of garbage and discarded items strewn throughout the entire home of the stock trader, and narrow maze-like pathways which made it difficult to move about within the single-family home. When the fire broke out on 10th September 2017, Mr. Beckwith was able to escape the home and tell emergency officials that another person was still inside. Mr. Khafra was later discovered dead from smoke inhalation and burns. Then it says Montgomery County Fire and Rescue Services. Officials say that Mr. Beckwith went to extraordinary lengths to prevent the victim, whom he had met online, from knowing where he was working, reports the Washington Post. He would make him wear blackened out goggles after picking him up from his home in a rental car. Mr. Beckwith would then drive around for 1 hour so that his worker did not know the location of the home. It says Mr. Khafra would work for days at a time in the basement, eating and even going to the toilet down there, prosecutors say. This goes to talk about American preppers. It says the town preparing for a devastating disaster. Roach shares his survival skills as he sets up camp in the forest. Then it goes on to say hours before his death, the laborer texted Mr. Beckwith to say that he could smell smoke in the tunnel. Mr. Beckwith tried adjusting the circuit breakers, which Assistant State's Attorney Douglas Wink says is evidence he knew of the bunker's imminent fire danger. His defense lawyer, Robert Bonsib, argued that Mr. Khafra of Silver Spring, Maryland, enjoyed the work and had posted photos on social media of the tunnel's progress. This is a tragic accident involving the death of a young man who was a full participant in these activities, fully aware of what was going on, fully aware of what happened, Mr. Bonsib said on Thursday after Mr. Beckwith arrested. So that was there's still more, excuse me. It says, when asked if the victim was kept there against his will, Mr. Bonsib responded, hell no. He noted that Mr. Beckwith made repeated calls to 911 and was himself admitted to hospital for medical treatment. During a court appearance, the defense lawyer acknowledged that Mr. Beckwith marches to the beat of his own drum. Reporters said that during the hearing, the defendant nodded and at other times shook his head at his attorney's arguments. And it says, officials say the tunnel network was 200 feet long. When Mr. Bonsip described him as an unusual individual, he nodded, according to WTOP. The judge ordered Mr. Beckwith on Friday to be released on a $100,000 bail bond. He is due back in court next week. Since the fire, Montgomery County officials have filed a civil complaint alleging that the bunker network extended beyond property lines, reports Fox News. Mr. Beckwith and his father, David, who owns the home, have disputed the claim. So that was a BBC News article going into how, these Edomites they know what's coming, so they're preparing for the nuclear war that's about to happen, but they're going to be greatly disappointed that those nuclear bunkers that they're filling up with food, water, and other types of supplies, they're not going to be able to reach it in time, because all hell's about to break loose and it can happen at any moment. I just want to give all praises to Yahweh by Shem Shai, double honors to the apostles, elders, and Akim of Great Millstone, and peace and salutations to the elect of Yasharallah throughout the four corners of the earth. Shalom.